Hello and welcome to episode 31 of Let's Talk Tactics. I'm your host, Zach Bro.
Hey, I'm Daniel Boone.
And I'm Locke.
And this week we got a bunch of releases, including some things I wasn't even aware they were coming out. I don't know if I missed a notice or what, but 3-star Odin came out, and that's insane. I had no idea until my guildies were posting pictures of him maxed out. I'm like, oh my god, I got to do this mission. Especially before Guild Wars that day, I was like, oh, I want my 3-star Odin or for guild battles. But yeah, so we got a bunch of new stuff to talk about, and then we'll go right into class match. So let's just jump right in. I guess we'll start with the Odin. 20 agility, pretty sweet. It's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4 HP. My brain likes that. 23 or 25% blind resist. There could be a better status for that, but I mean, you can't put everything on one esper. And he's a lot more. We get the 25 accuracy, right? Or it's higher accuracy. I don't think it's 25.
25.
7, 11.
Yep.
Oh, that's a 6, not a 5. Okay. So we hit another 25 accuracy esper is sweet.
Finally.
Yeah, right. And then also an additional 15 slash attack. So if you want, what is it,
Crazy.
25 man eater and 30 slash attack, go for it.
Yep.
How are you guys doing your specs?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I should have directed. My bad.
Huh?
I meant to level him, and I just never got around to it. I've been busy most of this week, which means I haven't prepped for CM as much as I'd have liked to, and haven't 99 Odin. Notably for this week, Odin's avian killer is useful for the ice burb. But yep, mine's still at, what is it, 70 or whatever?
80?
80.
80, yeah.
Jeez. Don't even know your espers anymore.
Crying.
For me, I have him on 25 man eater and then 25 accuracy because I mean he's like the only one with 25 accuracy, and I want to take advantage of that. And then I have 15 slash 15 slash resist. So it would either be slash or missile, whichever one I want. And then I think I have enough left over for 7% attack. So that's how I expect him.
Okay. I actually went similarly where mine's 25 human killer, man eater, whatever the word wants to be this day. Then 25 accuracy also. I just think, yeah, those two are just kind of I don't want to say mandatory because I don't like talking in absolutes, but if you're not using it for a very specific purpose and you just want general use Odin, I'm pretty sure you just go that route. I'm on slash resist now. Sometimes I go back to missile resist during CM periods, depending on the meta, but I actually went on the 7 evasion though.
Okay.
Mainly because I want to save myself some viz here and there, because whenever I'm in like the mood to try out evasion teams, I have to respect my esper because that 4% can matter sometimes, as we all know. But the 5% attack, it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a loss especially on these higher base statted EX units, but I'm kind of willing to eat that cost for the occasional 50, 100, 150 viz being spent. But yeah, I think probably going the attack route's more correct, but weird preferences. And also, just to talk about the accuracy thing, two-headed dragon just has 15, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's Typhon has the only other 25, I think. So okay.
Isn't it 15 as well for Typhon?
That is 15.
Is it 15? I thought it was 25 on Typhon if you max it out.
It's 5. Yeah, it's 15.
It's the same as
Is
the
it?
dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the only one with 25.
It's the only one, yeah.
Okay, I was thinking when you said that, I was like, I think Typhon. Oh, okay, that's pretty insane. All right.
I had the same reaction. I was like, is it 15 or is it 25? But yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking for some reason Typhon was 25, but two-headed was 15. But I guess wrong. So yeah, that's insane. Now, if you, how would you spec this, or would you spec this to use it on a magic character, like magic scaling character, to get use of the 25 human killer, the accuracy, maybe the evasion, some resist? Like, how would you think about doing that, or do you think there's enough other options now where you don't know if you would want to? I know like Halloween Leela can just use Typhon, which has almost as much accuracy, and then obviously way more synergy on she gets the 25 wind, which is like the 25 human. Yeah, except for the holy.
I would say possibly like on a spell blade to take advantage of like slash attack, but it's really, I mean, Odin, as long as it took me to get him, like I waited I think it took me like a few months or a couple months before I finally pulled him. Same as like long time, you didn't get him forever. But he's got so many good nodes, and actually for a long time I was just running in both slash res and missile res, and it's hard not to go back to that at some point, depending on like what teams you're facing, So like I can see somebody going like a full accuracy and then both resistances, just one of the best espers we have access to. So
Hey man, stick it on Grace with Human Killer and both resists. Oh yeah. I mean, she's gonna be more inaccurate. Sometimes she has like
yeah,
80% or something, 90%, but we'll just just gamble.
You can still get 10 human killer even with both resist, so that's not bad.
With the accuracy, you mean?
Yeah, with accuracy and both
Oh.
resists, you can still get 10 human killer.
That's pretty good.
that is
Wait,
not bad.
9 human killer, not 10,
Yeah.
sorry.
3
Of course,
nodes,
yeah.
okay. Oh, sweet. Okay. Oh, that's actually a possibility too then. I mean, you could probably... Nah, I wouldn't be able to be too. I was gonna say drop like 5% from one of the resists, but that's not how that would work at all. Yeah, anyway,
I was using him like for raids, with like for rain, for example. So I would put both slash nodes, and I had for this one I had the bird killer. So that's like a ridiculous modifier on range slash attacks, which is probably better than any other magic esper there. Like specifically for this raid though, because of the 30 from the slash and then 25 from the bird killer. So
I mean, it still gives like 44 magic. That's something, right? It's not that much, but I mean, yeah, it's a good esper all the way around, and the 20 agility is just so gigantic.
Yeah.
Dex, if it scales, I mean, it's a fair amount of dexterity. It's like what, 72. So, and also Odin's one of the highest AP contributors, right? On espers, if I recall correctly. I haven't seen a table in a while since some of the new ones, but
I think it gets like 40 or something.
It's 44 now. Yeah, so it's a pretty significant amount of AP. I mean, even the units, what is it? Did it start with 15% for like the non-caster, like hybrid units? Like soldiers and stuff. Is it 15 or 25%?
Yeah, I think it's 15%. I just know that my King Mon starts with 34 AP, and I'm like, that is insane. With Odin, 34, yeah, that's...
It's like, yeah, 44 is another 10% 4 plus 5. It's like another 6 AP to start with from this, so pretty good. More releases this week. We talked about Phoenix last week. Any new thoughts on that, or can we just move on and say, hey, listen to the previous episode if you want to hear our thoughts on Phoenix? I think that's what I'm going to go with. The other vision card, Mighty Obstacle. I've never seen this card before, just because I guess sometimes I skip over MR cards that release in JP, but it's an ice card. It gives 15 defense bestowed, which is pretty cool. Party, wind resist. I mean, kind of already have it, but single target resistance by 8. Sure, it's a little bit. Wind killer 20 is pretty sweet, though. That could be good for PvP. Or, sorry, not PvP, PvE implications. Yeah. And then, a fair amount of HP at 355, a little bit of attack, a little bit of magic. It's a nice MR. I think it's be a nice tool to have, but it's not anything game-breaking, right? Any thoughts? Have you thought about it? Just kind of skipped over it?
Yeah, I just skipped over it. I think it might be good for like some PvP, sorry, not PvE or like raid applications or something, but it doesn't really seem that great.
Was going to mention, I think maybe it'll be more relevant once we see like a stronger wind team, like once Tifa gets here. Even though obviously it's an MR card, but maybe
it's limited to ice though, so it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
So
anyway. It'll help ice kill wind better or something. I don't know.
It's a win more card, right? Like that's kind of the issue with it. Is it's like it's building on the strengths of things that you're already strong on. It's not like helping with weaknesses, which it can be fine, right? Like I mean, hitting 100% instead of a 95% would be good because it's you kill them.
Yeah,
it's the best crowd control in the game right there. But in terms of like, it's kind of like the cards that are like the party ability is wind resistance for ice units or something like that. It feels weird, but
yeah. So maybe it's just purely for PvE.
I mean, I could see it in PvP too, though. Like you said, I mean, if there is ever a time where there's a lot of like just mono wind teams, I mean, mono ice will come back and you can use this for just that extra multiplier. Although I would then ask, well, why not use like one of the ones with like the pierce or slash or something that, and then build your team so that it takes advantage of all of those.
So maybe watch out for those limited parameter ones, like limited cost, limited team cost, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that too. I mean, actually, by the time we get to that point, though, we're gonna have the mono ice card in JP that's ridiculous.
Like
Where it's like,
Last
yeah, it's like 25 human killer on physical damage for ice units, and that's just like the party ability. wait, Lock, have you not seen this card?
No, I have not seen it.
Oh
Okay, what is
my
that?
goodness! All right, ready for this?
Yeah.
This is I cannot wait for this card to come out. It is so busted. All right, so it's a UR 70 cost, no ability or anything.
Okay.
313 HP, 152 attack, 4 defense. So decent flat stats. On bestow for ice unit, 30% attack.
Okay.
Party effects. There's 2. There's acquired AP 25%, also for ice units. And then agility 15% for ice units.
Wow. Okay.
And then the party ability for maxing it is 25 human killer on physical damage, like Titan.
So like Titan. So Titan and Ramza.
Yeah.
Easies.
Titan,
Combined.
Plus some
Ramza,
AP.
and like Titan Ramza and like half of like fleeting banquet.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
Wow.
really insane card, and flat defense on it, which is nice. Just like a nice little bonus there, and respectable amounts of attack. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
wait for that card. It's so good. Me and
It's
my
like Bahamut
my
then,
Mexican.
almost. Like
Yeah, almost.
But it's not a double cost though, is it? But
No,
Bahamut is a
it's-
double cost, so that's crazy.
Yeah, there's no vision card ability.
No,
Yeah,
okay.
that's nuts. Yeah. So that's something to look forward to. Mono Ice maybe resurges. It's about that same time too, like I said. So other releases this week we have, let's go down before we talk about raids, we'll just go down the 3 units. So Yerma, any thoughts from either of you on Yerma as we talk about, Mono Wind? Is she a contender maybe?
So Mysidia did a really nice video of talking about all 3 of them, all 3 of their axes, and he does a really good breakdown. And I watched the videos, and he highlighted some strong points and weak points about all of them. Yes.
Wait, what, Daniel?
I really want to like her upgrades. I really want to, but I can't.
Yeah,
mean,
that was kind of
Can't justify
what
them.
what he ended up saying too. He's like, I think it's really nice. I think it's like really great, but just not quite there yet. In regards to Yerma. Yeah.
She gets a barrier, a physical barrier break. She gets with the defense pen built in. Like her full body blow becomes like instant cast. She gets the stats, but
It's a guaranteed hit on one of her
Mhm.
main abilities.
I just wish that it would make her more relevant the way that some of these other X jobs have, even for MR units.
I think her stats for like luck and stuff went up a decent bit, right? Like I heard some people talking about evade Yerma. Is that actually a thing, or were they just being cheeky? I know it doesn't look like she actually gets that much luck, so I don't know if they were smoking. And no agility either. Okay, maybe not. But that'd be cool though, because then she'd be kind of like the 3rd physical evade unit. It'd be like 2B, Oldoa, and Yerma, and you just go in there with your slash team. But right now, it's like you'd have to use Halloween Leela instead, which is a little awkward card-wise.
It's because she has the thief sub job, so she has access to Shadowcast. So that's why you could go evade Yerma. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like the word what if dash calc like index puts her at like rank 21 in terms of luck. I'm guessing that's at 120. But maybe they just weren't used to using like evasion Yerma in the first place, so they're like, oh hey, thief Yerma.
Yeah, right. I mean, shout out to old guild leader, and he actually just came back to the game recently and rejoined the guild, Kluya. Back in the day, so he started off. He has an evade account, like that's all he has. He has dark units and evade, and Katone, Shadow Links. That was like his main jam, but he needed a 3rd unit, and he didn't have like OG Stern, or I guess I don't even know what other ones. He never had Sid, I don't think. Yerma was his first like 3rd evade unit that he slotted in the team before like Venera came out, and she was more of like a tank back then, honestly, back when she could do that. So it's funny that other people were mentioning evade, and it just happens to be something that my guild at least has been familiar with, even though she's not exactly super impressive.
I don't know, I don't want to say terrified, but like I was like wary of Yerma for months using an evasion team because of her accuracy, especially with her TMR. Most likely with her, like you see a Yerma, she's probably using her TMR like back in those days. So like I'm always gonna remember that experience, like of being like, oh shit, it's a Yerma, you know. But obviously that was quickly
Hey,
eclipsed.
Ziza's 42, so I don't know. I know everyone
Yeah.
uses like Ziza as this like benchmark, like, oh, Ziza can be evade, so I can evade. It's like she's
Mm,
really not that great at evasion, honestly. Like she has the passives and stuff, but stats wise, it's not nearly as good as some
no,
other units.
you really need to land a Steel Vision with her more than some others. But I mean, honestly, I'm surprised you didn't go like the Jax like reference with the like Katona and Shadowlinks.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I was just talking about Yerma in that case, but
Yeah, I mean, like, like a third unit, But yeah, maybe Lynx didn't really register on the radar much back then. But I
I
digress.
said he had Ketone and Lynx.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Katona and Venera. You said
Oh no,
Venera.
I said he used Yerma until Venera came out as the
Oh, okay,
third unit with the two ninjas. Yeah.
my bad.
Yo,
I'm
he
listening.
farmed two Sasuke's katanas back the first time they came.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy. Those
that
terrible
was
drop rates.
actually, I don't know if he finished them. I think he might have had like a +3 or a +4 for a while because he just literally couldn't do it enough times to get the stuff because the rates were so bad. Oh man. Any other thoughts on Yerma? I know we briefly touched on her upgrades, but I don't really think there's a whole lot. Just kind of, I'm not gonna say disappointing, but kind of disappointing.
I think she's just too easy to kill and doesn't have the range on skills like she does a lot of damage, but she needs to get up close. So I think that's her weak point.
I think there's definitely some jobs in general that aren't great compared to other jobs that do similar functions. I was gonna say jobs that do similar jobs, but like Viking is one of them. Knight is definitely up there. Monk now with Pugilists, like it's really hard to like Monk's more supporty, but if you're thinking about in terms of like how they actually kill things, it's a very different or it's very like different levels of power, and it sucks to
Yeah,
see that happen to jobs like Lancer, another fair example. Like nice utility, but we almost always see them superseded by like Glaciella or Dragoons, and
yeah.
Yep.
it's a
I
shame.
think I think I would have liked to see like a defensive like closing like gap closer, like Sentinel for instance. Like plus 45 defense and spirit like for one turn. Like you get close to the enemy, you get it within melee range. Hopefully the next turn, for if you're like paladin sub or whatever. But the rebellious spirit increasing defense by like only 10. Uh, it, it's missing like a couple tools I think to really
It's
make
very
it shine,
medium,
and I think that's what Yerma really suffers from is like she's main job Viking.
right?
So with if the job it gets better, then I think she will as well.
I think something like an ability for a Viking like that, some kind of gap closer, like jump 3 spaces and do like an AoE on landing or something would be cool, or like a teleport and like crazy spinning axe swirl of death thing would be cool.
Call it Cyclone. Oh, she has a Drain Cyclone, but an actual Cyclone.
Yeah, it's like Death Cyclone or what's the other one? It's the full body blow. You do
Yeah.
like some crazy ridiculous like bone rending cyclone or something. But yeah, it's unfortunate. However, EX jobs that I am a fan of, let's talk about Nasha. So I'm just gonna skip right to her Saintly Wall upgrade. It basically becomes a super Mashri TMR for herself, which it reduces magic damage as well by 30% 3 times. So it's a universal barrier. It's basically like Armor of Discontinuity without a cast time, which is sweet.
Yeah,
It's very, very good. And
Is
then
it
her
50%?
other, it's 50%.
50,
Yeah.
Okay.
50 for both, which is pretty crazy. And she gets 2 uses at 40 TP, so it's a decent AP generator. Plus, it's not just like a one-time thing that will end up maybe only getting a little bit of value, especially on multi-hits nowadays. Titus still laughs at your 3 charged shields but with this LP, but it's like 100, 10,000. It's like shit. But then her EX25 skill is Divine Veil. Like it gives single target resistance 25 for self and also nullifies poison, stop, immobilize. Stop is pretty good. She's kind of slow anyway, but I mean it's not being stopped is great. But poison is a pretty big one for tanks. Like if someone lands a timely poison on you, it can be really backbreaking, especially if you don't have a regen. So I do like that. And what's her other upgrade? There's no ability. Oh, it's her passive.
Yeah, it just
Mhm.
increases the chance to proc by 10.
Okay, so it's a 40 or a 30% to reduce physical damage. Okay, that's pretty good. So she's definitely still not going to be tanking magic damage, but the Saintly Wall enhancement does at least help in that regard. I think she's still like what negative? Yeah, she's negative 20 to magic attack. So I guess like other forms of magic would be nice, but magic attack still is gonna hurt quite a bit. Anything I didn't say about her that you guys have looked at all? I don't necessarily assume you guys look at Nasha. She was kind of one of my early pet units. I think she was my first non-mont maxed MR maybe.
Mhm.
I remember I timed it. I maxed her the day Lucia came out. Almost said Lucia. And I used her in guild battles like day one, and like she just walled off Lucia's for a while. It was great. But
Yeah, I swear I remember like you and like maybe one or two other people like really being into Nasha, and I told myself that I would one day as well. I did finally max her at one point, but I didn't really need her anymore by that point, you know. But she was one of the MRs that I was looking forward to seeing getting her X. But I don't know. Strangely, I think I've upgraded other units too much, where it's like I don't know if it's worth the investment right now. So she's still at 99 for me.
sure.
So I haven't used her, but I've seen other people use her, and I've also seen all these videos, and I hear all these great reviews. But from like a live preview perspective, she doesn't really seem that great. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, she was fun in the beginning of the game. You could get away with like her white mage gave enough value. Like I had her with like a magic Ragnarok kind of thing,
Mhm.
and she'd be able to actually throw out some decent cures. She could put regen, protect, and shell on people. You could try to gamble on a raise. Or I mean on Dragoon, she can get the move one, jump one, which is pretty nice. Stall in the air with jump. Which actually I don't know if I maxed her jump. I wonder if that's another one where I can actually get the stall or not. But the problem is she's just glacially slow. Like she is very, very not fast.
Like the MR version of Engelbert, basically.
Yeah, that's
Basically, yeah.
exactly what I was thinking of. Like when I saw her kit and everything, I'm like, okay, in auto battle, I'm sure she'll be great because it's a tank, right? But for like PvP, she would literally be like an Engelbert. That's what I was thinking. When I was
She's
looking for.
also very good in tower, though. I will say, been very, very useful in tower. Whether it
Mhm.
be like I said for the protect and shell, or just the regen, or just yeah walling off damage. She's a very, very good physical tank. So, I have gotten a lot of use out of her there, especially on the floors that are like that very clearly want you to use an all ice team. She's just can go to the front with like Valve Love or whatever and turn off everything but like taunting blade and let her let her do her thing. So I think she's probably not if you're like really trying to go like competitive class match type stuff, she's probably not at the top of the list to max. But I think she's a cool unit that if you have some leftover materials at some point, she's one that might be worth looking into. But of course, she's the one I've pulled I think the most of since getting the orbs. So I'm pretty sure I have more than enough to max her all the way. I'm like, I want to do it, but I don't know if I can yet. She is EX'd. Like I have her, she can go to like 102 or wherever that first stage is, but I don't know how much more I'm gonna put into her yet.
Those
Definitely a cool unit though.
blossoms.
So yeah, those blossoms are crazy. I guess I underestimated how much we got at first, and I got baited into thinking I could just do like one every time the stuff came out, but that is just not the case. It is pretty brutal. That near EX pack is staring me in the face. I'm like, hold strong. And I feel bad though. I've seen people do like the red farms, whether it be Alcris or something, and they're putting like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 energy in and not getting the blossom. And I'm like, skip 20. Oh, there's the blossom. It's like every time so far. I'm like, dang guys, I'm sorry. Actually, I did a skip on Wednesday. I was skipping. So yeah, 2 days ago. I was skipping for Ice Alcris to like get her EX because I realized I never 15 jobbed her. And to finish it out, I did a 20 skip and I got 4 blossoms.
Yikes.
And it was like, oh, overflow of blossoms. Like, damn, you can
Yeah,
only
it
get the
sucks.
one.
So
Like,
close.
Jesus, so many. So yeah, cool unit. Probably can't recommend her. Similar reasons like Mysidia would have been saying about either Yerma or you had said about Liart. Liart, right? That's what we said, Liart. Okay. I'm used to saying Liarta, so I'm trying to fix it. But yeah, can't recommend it. unless you want to have some fun. Etra. I'm assuming she's gonna be in the same boat. I actually haven't looked at her skills yet, so I feel like I looked at her long ago when she first came out in JP, and there was something cool about her, but I don't remember what it was. So,
Doom, I
Daniel,
think.
this is a monk, so I'm gonna throw it over to you.
Well, yeah. So I wonder if you're thinking about her HP up passive because it gives her slash and pierce res now.
It sure does.
So that was pretty cool. It's always been cool to see Etra as like a tanky monk, but I can't really say I've been impressed with her otherwise before her X. Um, it's cool that her countdown ability becomes it's called inevitability, like it's upgraded. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's 1 turn sooner instead of 4 turns, it's 3 turns. So I mean, it's a cool dynamic, you know. But I mean, honestly, she doesn't have like the access to Aziza's like thief skills, you know. So it's really like, are you really gonna bring like a tanky monk when you could bring like somebody else? But in terms of her X upgrades, though, I think the X upgrades are awesome. Like the resistances, including with her HP up, which you're probably going to use. The just the name, the countdown upgrade to inevitability. I just think that's really cool. And like her job 25 skill, it's called Fists of Frenzying. Um, that is also like obviously it's a cool name, but it has like a base 25 chance to inflict like confusion and berserk, which you know we don't really see berserk ever, and we don't really see even like confuse like for the longest time was just like Agrius's like bailiwick, right? And now obviously like 2B I believe has like a confuse like the whirling vortex or whatever.
Yep.
But the base 25% chance for both of those, like it kind of indicates like if you want to use that skill. I mean, it's got three uses to it, but it's kind of expensive at 30 AP. You want to have her faith at like 70 or something, or even 97 if you really want to make the most use of that, as well as like her inevitability, the chance to doom, and then that's a base 50%. But with that higher faith, like yeah, she gets more heals, she gets more chance to res, you know, just like any other tank. It's cool to have a higher faith as long as you can compensate for that. If you can take like the higher magic damage that you're going to be taking, but as an MR unit, I don't know how well she's going to be able to take that damage without getting like one shot. So that's kind of the unfortunate like other end of the coin, you know, for these cool status effects.
Yeah, two things. One, it is interesting to see two status effects on the same ability because you do get two rolls essentially, assuming it's coded in a way I would hope it is, where it's like they don't both hit or not both hit. That's pretty good. I mean, even if she was on, let's say she's 97 on a 97, it's a 48% chance for both. I mean, that's two coin flips. Math says you're
Pretty good,
probably
yeah.
hitting one of
Yeah,
them.
at
as
max
long as
faith,
they're
right?
Right, at max faith. So, I mean, it's kind of cool, and like both of them cause loss of control, which we know in life BF is very powerful. So, I do agree though, probably not the greatest. The other thing, we were just talking about bad jobs. If you look at her combination of jobs, it's
Yeah.
like
A few worst
decent
ones.
to horrible to oh my goodness. It's monk, cleric, and knight. Now, cleric is interesting. The light and dark resist 25% could be useful in some situations, and it is a nice flavor win that pronged staff is always a strike ability, and she is a monk who has a strike passive, so she can make more use out of the cleric's pronged staff, which is, you know, cool flavor win. She gets a race, I guess, but like she's not a magic unit, so she's not, the cure isn't gonna do much. About to spit your stuff out. The banish isn't gonna do anything, so it's like it's a really bizarre combination. And then knight is cool, and like we talked about, like I think it was maybe 2 podcasts ago. Breaks may become more valuable because these percentages of higher base values now are, you know, more detrimental. But it's still not amazing, like being knight. And all three of them together is just like, oh man. Like if you had to pick 3 to 5 of the worst jobs, like I'm pretty sure all 3 of these are in there. So actually, let's make a spicy call here. What would you guys say is the worst job in the game? Worst
Uh,
non-limited job. Not that I think a limited unit's gonna have the worst job, but just to keep it simple. I'm pretty sure cleric is mine, but I don't know if maybe. Which also think about this, Mashri is a main cleric sub monk, which is another
I
weird
mean,
thing.
I like the cleric more than maybe some others I might think of, like Lord, for instance. Like until Mont got his stone throw mastery, like a cleric has
All
the
right,
auto
that's
cure.
warrior. That's warrior. Warrior and
Yeah, yeah,
lord.
yeah.
We'll,
Fair
we'll
enough.
lump
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
So like the auto cure passive is amazing. Like Yuna is kind of just like put that on steroids, but like even Mashari, like she can be like a tiny, like a mini Yuna. I have always loved the light veil and dark veil buffs. Like that's part of the whole green mage. Like people sleep on green mage a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like yeah, for as bad of a rep that cleric has, and maybe like it's probably mostly warranted. Like like why would you have pronged staff be a physical like strike? Like come on, but like it's not. Like I don't look at it. I don't see it as like the worst class. But I mean, obviously it's down there. Like there's some. It's kind of there's some merit to that.
I think I would probably rather have. Oh, I'm sorry. This is knight that I'm looking at. Duh, not warrior. I'm looking at the wrong unit here. Warrior gets killer blade, which is pretty good, and like body slam
Jamming
is
edge.
fun. Jamming edge sometimes, yeah. So as a main job, I could see it being decent, but yeah, that's got to be down there too. Now that you say
I
that.
think, but I think the inherent problem with that, that I have with that question is like we can find uses for any of these
Hmm.
jobs, right? Like you look at
Yep.
what if dash calc and you look at the job list and you're like, okay, none of these jobs are really that bad. Like they can all be used for like in some situation, right? But obviously
But if
cleric
you
is
had to
probably
pick,
going to be
no, so yeah,
it's probably going to be near the bottom, if not
yeah.
at the bottom. Like just like with warrior, that's pretty. That's been eclipsed like a long time ago with these other slash base classes and stuff. But I mean, there's still like even sorceress, like you can still make that work with Estola. Like if only there was like a UR version of her or something.
Well, I guess okay. So I would say if you're a main job cleric and you're a magic scaling character, cleric is probably better than a physical scaling main job warrior.
Yep.
But as a sub job on things, I could say that could flip depending on the unit. But I think if we're talking about main jobs, I would actually put cleric not at last place. And you're right, I would put warrior below that. What about you, Locke?
Yeah, I think knight is probably the worst that I can think of, just because like, I mean, like disable is cool and everything, but you can disable at range with like so many other jobs. No, I don't want a one range disable, right? And the breaks, they're not as useful as like some of the other skills that so many other jobs have. So that's probably the worst one I can think of. Um, I would have typically said cleric, but I think like there's so many status effects going on that the erase and like the erase portion that she can do is actually pretty good. So like having a subjob cleric might actually not be a bad thing, just to be able to have like an AoE uh, remove debuffs kind of spells, just because they're so prevalent. But
Now,
anyway, but still, yeah.
so I do agree the range on Knight is pretty horrible. But in terms of their like bread and butter abilities, they do get an AP break, and the Trinity break has a range of like 3. Granted, it's in a line and it's expensive as shit. But I think those are pretty good. You still think those would be below or lower in value
I mean,
So I
over
was
like a
looking
war?
at what's her name,
Etra,
Etra's
yeah. So
knight.
if you look at if you
Okay,
look at like main job Knight in terms of like what they could have, if you
okay. What is it? Main job knight.
Whisper is the one I'm looking at.
Whisper. Okay.
Yeah, it's just at the top of the list.
Uh,
So they get the TP break, but Trinity break and AP break are really good, I think. The 39 magic and attack combined with the 25% agility loss is pretty big. I don't. I will say though that all the breaks except for the arm break are extremely low multipliers. It's like 126, 121, 126 on these. I guess Trinity's a little higher too, but
even the AP break, to be honest, because like the Nightblade has that, but on like on
yeah,
2 range, right? So
right.
it's just the range on these skills are like what I don't really like.
Yeah, it's fair. I guess the abilities could be better, but if you can't hit them, then it doesn't matter. It's fair.
So I would say probably at like the lowest tier, and you know how I hate like making tiers. But like I would say there's like 5 jobs really that are kind of recognized at like the lowest tier, and that's so cleric, knight, warrior, lord, or whatever, green mage, and monk. I would say that most people kind of look at these jobs like they're sub tier, you know, suboptimal or whatever. Like monk, generally when we see a monk, we're like, oh, what other sub jobs can we like include with it? Same with these other ones.
Like
It's like,
Zizo's
oh,
a thief.
yeah, like well, like what jobs can make this unit better, as opposed to like other main job like units. So
Yeah, like
um,
Shell and Helen are both time mages. They're not green mages.
Yep.
Like let's be honest here.
yeah,
Like green mage, the green mage Emerald Echo's great, and the bar effects
yeah,
are nice in certain situations, and Imperil's a nice thing to have, but yeah, it just doesn't
yeah.
stack up to.
So I think kind of back to my original point, like there are like redeemable,
Right.
like redeeming qualities to like all of these jobs, but like on the whole, like
Yeah,
just in practice, it's unfortunate that we see like these kind of flop.
I think the next tier up would be the ones that are more useful than those that do the similar jobs, but not as good as like the top jobs, which would be things like Viking or
Yeah, Gunner.
yeah, Gunner versus Dual Gunner. It's like, come on.
When you
What
use
was
a
the other
gunner,
one I was gonna
chances
say?
are it's a ranger.
Lancer versus like Lancer would be in that tier as well.
Yeah,
That sort of thing. But anyway, let's not get too deep into that. We're gonna hurt some feelings, which
black mage.
yeah, Black Mage now feels awful. Like, why not be an arithmetician? Like, you
Yeah,
should have
exactly.
studied more. Like, what the fuck? I think the last release for this week is the raid. So Iceberg, as Daniel said earlier, King Mont can solo it if he's 120 and has the right setup. It's kind of stupid. So props on you. I'm not gonna actually have him at maxed out before the end. I'm trying to like slow
You can
burn
do it at
him.
115 too.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
That
I've
is
seen people do
fantastic
solo at
news.
115.
Cool. All right, you're gonna have to send me a video of that so I can do it. I'll respect my Odin for that. I'll just have to take him out of guild battles or something. I'm not respecting
I
Asian killer on
actually
and off each day.
I respect my Odin to be completely PvP, so he doesn't have any of the slash notes. He has man eater, and he was still able to do it solo. So he doesn't
That's
need the avian
silly.
killer or the 30 slash. So I'm
That's
like,
so
okay.
silly. I heard people are having trouble with him even like with the avian. That's interesting then.
Yeah.
Maybe they
Oh.
just had different toggles. I don't know. Anyway, the Brigandine is the chest piece, armor, or whatever you want to call it. So I guess yeah, more useful term is armor. Which actually that's even ambiguous, right? Because armor is the type there, but like an armor can also be a hat or whatever, right? So
No, there's I believe there's separate, like there's hat and helm and armor.
right, but like the
cloaks.
but blue items are called armor.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
So I think the term's
Yeah.
being used
Type,
twice.
yeah.
That's weird. Yeah. Anyway, pedantic, whatever. So this heavy armor, whatever you want to call it. The vital version, quite a bit of health, 872. We have the shield version, which is 20 defense. So I guess if people don't have their platinum armors, this could be a cool option for the shield. It gives a little bit of 5 spirit, and then minus evade. Sure, if you're using this piece of armor, you're probably not going for evade. 610 HP is respectable. Also, barrier version at a 10-10 split, kind of medium. I'd rather find a better combination elsewhere, probably. However, the AoE resist 10 is pretty sweet as a passive. So, are you guys going for multiples? Just going for one? How do you? Wait, can we even get a +3 during the rewards, or can we only get 1 +5?
You can buy a +3, but I don't. You
Okay.
get like 3 recipes, I think, for finishing or for getting to like 100, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't believe we got rewarded with a +3. That I
You
remember.
don't.
So if you have paid viz, you can get 2.
I think somebody did the math and said you're off by like 12 recipes or something. Even though
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 63. So 36 plus the 15 for 36. You need 48. So yeah, like 12 recipes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oof. So is this a shield build? Is this what we should be doing probably?
Yes. My impression of it was like it's like you look at platinum armor, right? And you got to farm that for like 2 years or like maybe one and a half if you're starting a new account and you like religiously PvP every day. Even then, it's like too late just because of all the class matches and stuff. Anyways, so platinum armor is like the single target resistance. But it's also got that strike resistance. But like nobody pays attention to
Do
strike.
we have the single target resist now?
It
+5, I think.
like once, so it goes from like 1, 2, 3, 5, 10.
Right, but is that update out for global?
I don't think so. I
Don't
think
think
we're
so, no.
still waiting on
Oh,
it.
okay,
Yeah.
we're still waiting. Okay.
But it doesn't matter because it takes like a year, 2 years, whatever. So it's cool. Like this was my first impression, like I was saying. So like the Brigandine, instead of the single target, it's the AOE resistance. So I thought that was a cool kind of thing for them to throw at us. Like make us like wonder, are we going to use the platinum armor or the Brigandine? Obviously the Brigandine is way more accessible. It's you get it in a raid, you finish it a few days, a couple days, depending on how long it takes for you to get those 63 recipes. But as long as you have the math and stuff. I think, I don't know if all of the jobs that can equip the Brigandine can or the platinum armor can equip the Brigandine.
They should. It's the
There's
same
like
armor classification, right?
yeah, I think I'm just seeing more jobs on the JP side because there's more
Yeah, there's
JP
more
like armor users,
like
but with
Charlotte's job
yeah,
would have
exactly.
it, and
Cloud.
yeah, Cloud, yeah, those sort of. Can Cloud wear armor? Maybe.
Yeah. So but in terms of like equipment stats and like the types, they're like literally the same. There's like barely much difference in HP, defense, and spirit and stuff. This it doesn't even, so Brigandine doesn't even get any kind of accuracy. Not that the platinum armor. So the platinum armor starts with -6 accuracy and -16 evade. So there's some differences, but like I think I'm always just gonna relate the two.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely. I mean they're both the 20 defense options. I don't think anything else goes that high. There's two 18s, but they're not 20. They both have fairly high HP. What's the HP on plat armor?
Plat armor like maxes at vital with like 983 or something.
No, sorry, just a shield.
Oh, shield is like 683.
680. Okay, so it's a little higher, but
I can't believe I have that
accessibility.
memorized.
I thought it was 680, but I forgot the 3, so you got me. Damn. Hey, Locke, what were you saying?
No, I was just writing the numbers because I have it in front of me. So 683
Okay.
for the health.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think oh wait, there's a difference, right? -5 evade versus -8 evade.
Ooh. But what do you guys think about like the difference between them? Like obviously, like we said, the Brigandine is more accessible. But say you had a +5 of each, like would you ever see like when would you ever see like, oh, I'd rather use Brigandine like as opposed to platinum armor or vice versa,
So I'm in a totally different boat here, where I would just go with the Golem Bracers. It's 16 defense, but it gives you disable resist, and I feel like that's a lot more important to me than like AOE resistance.
Defense bracer?
Yeah. Did I say Golem Bracer?
Yeah. I was like, what new JP gear is this? I have to look this up.
Oops, I meant the Golem's defense bracer. But in general, I really want my armor pieces to have that resistance because I like status effects is just everywhere. And when this armor was released and everybody started farming it, I actually farmed the +5 version of it on the first day. I didn't make it yet because I don't see myself equipping it a lot. But when it was released, everyone was like, "Oh, this is awesome, especially for King Mont." And I'm like, that's probably the worst person I would put it on personally. And the reason I think that is because so he already comes with a 15 AOE resistance, right? And if you put the card on him, that goes to like 25. You can put other things on him, but like there are so few units in the game that are limited to only AOE attacks. So they would just use the single target attack, even in like auto or manual PvP. So I would rather put something that's like a single target instead of a AOE resist piece on him, simply because like, okay, he has 50% AOE resist, so I'm just gonna only attack him with single target skills. Like I can see it being useful for like on an evade unit, like 2B or something, although she can't wear it, but it's like maybe like Runestone or something, where Holy, that yeah, sure, you want that AOE resist from skills, not Holy, but Yuna's like AOE skills. So like maybe you want it in that, but but usually you would want to wear a armor piece that gives you like evade. You don't want a negative evade piece anyway, right? So it doesn't really make sense there either. So therefore, that's why I don't really see too many applications where I can use this. And again, I would rather prefer some kind of resist, like disable resist or confusion resist or something like it, with that cape that gives you pierce and confusion resist. Like I would rather go with that. So that's how I feel about it. So I have it. I have all the items to make it, but I probably don't see myself making it for a while.
The two things. One, I just realized I said -8 for platinum armor. It's actually -2. Mine's just not maxed, I guess. So I thought I had mine completely maxed. I guess I just looked at that and said it doesn't matter and just left the hammers at home. But one thing I would say is I think there is value though to decentivizing the AI from using AoE, because if they use single target, they're not killing your other units too. Like a tank is great, but if your tank is standing next to anybody else and they can use AoE and hit everybody, that sucks. But if the AI instead then goes like, "Oh, hey, I'm just gonna hit you with this single target," that's almost the tank doing its job even better. However, in live PvP, that's not necessarily as applicable, and they can just AoE kill the rest of your team and say, "All right, now I'm going to deal with your raid boss that's in front of me and just do my single target now." The rest of the team is gone. So yeah, I guess it depends on which mode. Um, that can change how valuable that difference is, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's
I do like the idea though. AoE damage is so big now, and the other advantage of AoE is it adds range. So if people are used to engaging from a certain range, like with Taunting Blade, for example, range 5, it's actually 4, but it's +1. Whereas if they don't have a single target range 5 thing, they might actually be out of range. So like that sort of can change decision trees as well. But I don't know how much value that adds, but I think that's some value to that.
Mhm.
the cool thing is like even if you don't have like a significant like AoE resistance on whatever unit to start with, like you can pair this with King Mont's like TMR for that like 3-turn buff as long as it doesn't get like dispelled or whatever. Um, and it is kind of cool. I think there is a strategy to building like AoE resistance and building like unit resistance, obviously eventually. Um, so for like building and like a full, like not full, but like imagine having like full AoE resist. Like Frederica is suddenly like like a one trick like sharpshoot pony. Like you don't have to worry about barrages. Like and like you just run your tank forward. Like you don't even have to worry about, you don't even have to like sentinel or anything. You can like just, you can use other strategies. So but I just don't think there's much call for like a full AoE res like unit. So it's interesting. It's cool to have, I guess, in your toolkit, but is like I think like Locke was saying, like, is it really necessary right now?
Yeah, probably
It's
not,
interesting.
but it's yeah, I don't know. I still like the piece. Like having another 20 defense thing and not gambling on my shield rolls on platinum armor is nice, but in terms of like in an optimal situation, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like maybe the biggest benefit to it is like having it on like a physical like units. You don't have to worry about taking AoE magic damage, like arithmeticians, like even like a staff mage, like energy buster or whatever. You can just be like, nope. So that's pretty cool. It kind of covers like maybe that spirit like deficit, or like I can't imagine you'd be using this on a unit that needs defense, but like, maybe like if you have like low defense or low spirit, whatever, this can help with that.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that before we go to class matches? What we promised we talk about this week, so it's
Yeah.
that. One shout out real quick is War of the Visions Calc has an update that I didn't realize was here. Maybe it's been here for a couple weeks. And one of those things that you said that maybe I missed also. Quest tab, which has map links to various game modes. And while it is kind of hard to navigate, the descriptions are not the logical way I would think to put them, but I understand that's just kind of probably what the data mine says. They're by map name, so click through until you find it. But Daniel, you linked the JP one for this upcoming class match in the PvP server, and that's how I actually discovered it. When any idea when this came out?
It was a recent update, I believe, within the past week, possibly 2 weeks. It's definitely within a matter of days.
Okay, yeah, this is super useful. Now, just interpreting this, I know the O, so O1 through O6, those are the crystals. That there's a little ID legend at the bottom. However, the P's, what are those? Are those like spawn points or
I,
what's?
I believe so. Yeah.
So it's just
Like
like
Oh,
point 1 through 15 or
I see.
something. And then what? And then E is enemy, I guess. I guess it's
yeah,
player and enemy. Is that what the P and E stands for?
yeah. That's what I
Okay.
would guess.
Okay. Those spawn positions are interesting, huh? I guess there's good thing you don't have to do like double click and stuff here because like this is a really weird spawn for those.
It's easier to see than the other kind of like paint by number maps that like Elzik has been giving us. Those are awesome, obviously, but they're, I don't know, for me it's a little hard to read because how
Paint by
colorful they are.
numbers. Oh yeah, I know. It's just a funny
This,
way to put it.
well, yeah, because you see the spaces with the numbers, and you're like,
Oh,
oh,
for
this is
sure.
blue,
No, I got
this
you.
is
Yeah. Oh, it works perfectly. It was just really
red.
funny. I just was expecting that.
um, yeah. So, but yeah, the whole quest, like uh,
Update.
access part of what if Dash Calc is like a really inspired like update. So yeah, kudos to Bismarck as always for his like unflagging work on this like baby of his.
Yeah, I mean, he even has the beginner mission maps. Like, come on, like that's insane. Hard quest for card. Oh, that's right, because JP got vision card hard quest, didn't they?
I think
Yes, they
we're
did.
expecting to see those pretty soon. Wasn't it around like a couple of weeks around like when Black Rose Helena was released?
Don't
I feel like it was around
know.
something like that.
You
We
could
can
definitely be
probably,
right. It's long enough that I forgot when it came out,
yeah,
but like recent enough that I mean, obviously we don't have it yet, so that
let us know in the
sounds about right.
comments.
Yeah, right. If anybody knows. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Sorry, I'm just like exploring this map now. Any thoughts? Maybe from looking at these spawn points now. I mean, it's the same information we had right previously,
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
a little clearer.
different format.
So I guess Locke. Do you want to go into what you've been thinking? Because I know you have a pretty nailed down
Yeah,
strategy now.
I was I was looking at these locations, and depending on where you're spawning, like for example, like if you're in the corners, but anyway, like it is possible, for example, to get like a turn one charmed or something from Kiza if you spawn, unfortunately, like right across or something, and a little bit forward, not exactly in the back corner or something, you could get turn one charmed or something like that, right? So I was saying, that's what I see as like the biggest threat. So I was saying one way to easily negate that was to make sure whoever your fastest unit is on your team to have charm res. So, for example, if Garvel has charm res, Kiza comes up, she's not going to charm Garvel, she's going to go hit somebody else. Garvel can auto attack that unit to knock them out of charm, and now you have two units to hopefully kill Kiza. And she's obviously in range because she already came up by herself. So that was one way I was like, I was giving like basic advices like that. It does look like a very small map. I mean, it's 11 by 14, and like you're not spawning in the exact far corners, so it's actually closer than that. So it does seem like pretty small. So I don't know how much rangers will be a threat simply because like you can probably reach them in a turn or two, whereas before in the snowy fields map you have to slowly get up to them, and by that time you get up to them, you're usually dead already. So you had to specifically play somebody that can cover a long range very fast, like dragoons, like Victor or something, or use the Ketones TMR to move them up faster, things like that. So I don't know, but I heard from somebody. I have trouble pronouncing people's names, unfortunately. But it says the
Celtic.
P. I think it's like Pheano. I think his name is
Oh yeah,
Fano or Fano? Yeah.
Fino. Yeah. So he was saying that in JP, people would like there is a square which that is a height 5 square. If you look at like 11 row 11, sorry, row 2 column 5, row 2 column 11, there is a 5 square right there, sorry, a
Mm-hmm.
5 height square. So around there, people would plant one gunner there, and then they would plant like tanks on the choke points, and still use that as a, like, hit. You can hit with gunners, or not gunners, but like archer skills, you can still
like a
hit.
like a turret pillar basically.
Yeah, basically, and you can put tanks there to block up the choke points so that they can't get hit. So he said that was a popular strategy that he saw taking place in JP. So I don't. I think there's still a way to counter that, because if you look at, for example, row 4 column 10, you can still reach that. Like you can use a 3 skill to reach that, right? You don't have to go all the way to the ground. You can just stand over there and shoot them, or like something like that. So I mean, there's a lot going on here, but those are just some of the initial thoughts I had about the map itself.
I think look at these spawns, like they are close, but I mean if you look at the two like the straight lines facing each other right in the middle, so if you're looking at the map, it'd be, was it row 6, that whole row?
Yeah.
It's height 5 and 4 in front of it, and the spots
Yeah.
right behind are 0 and 1. So like unless you're a dragoon or you have a jump passive on a sniper, which I don't even know if that exists, like you have to go around anyway. So you can't really run across. I was actually seeing if Zazan could turn one, like just run across, and he actually can't. Unless you're on the sides, then sure he can do his thing because it goes 0 and then 2's the highest, so he'll just run over all of it. But even like Ziza, unless they're in the direct spot next to that 5 pillar you were talking about, you can't reach that back line or the middle. So I think those are the only 2 vulnerable spots.
Yeah, I was thinking of like row 3, column 4, like just in case you're parked there for whatever reason, but maybe you shouldn't be parked there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And because there's no
flanking-
quicken, like you're safe because there's no quicken, that they can't go like quicken Ziza and stop you from wherever you spawn. Like if you're not in. If I'm gonna link this in the description, anybody wants to look at this map along with us while we're talking, which I should have said earlier, but like P11, E11 are the 2 spots I'm looking at, or P13, E13. Just don't spawn there, and you won't get charm turn 1. I guess, or the E14, like that whole the column 4, column 11, just don't spawn in the far sides. You can spawn in the middle, just not in the far sides, and you won't get charm turn 1. So
yeah, this is, to me, this is kind of like class match 1, like that map on steroids. Like the whole.
Sorry, let me just correct myself. Zazan could spawn in P11 and charm E7, so he could run forward and get a charm on the back row. That's only Zazan.
Right, because of his like base move 6.
Yeah, but he's slow as fuck, so hopefully you move before him.
And no quicken, no CT change, anything like that. So just gotta go as fast as like your legs can normally carry you. But
I mean, you can put like a Cacture VC, you can put Odin.
There are things.
You wanted it more than me.
It's still, you still have to work with like his base agility for those agility upgrades, right? But yeah, like I was saying, like this map, like with the structure or whatever, like in the center with the height differences being just so much higher than like the surrounding area, it's really reminiscent to me of that like initial class match map where like a lot of people were complaining about just like their opponent just like kiting them around like the perimeter, and just like ending up with draws or just being like having just being a really frustrating experience, like trying to catch them with like your base move like 3 and base jump 1 units. So I think I'm really worried about people having that experience again and just being super frustrated with it and just being like, oh, screw this. But this is to me, this is one of those maps where it's like, yeah, there's no quicken, but man, gunner teams are going to be prevalent, and that just feels bad because they are, right. They normally are prevalent, and even though they can't really take advantage of like triple or double turns, like they are going to have a field day with people trying to close on them, I think, because like and unless you take the center, and you're smart about your strategy and positioning, like you move one way, the gunners are going to move the other way, and they're just going to like keep raining down.
Shikuchi Fred.
Exactly, yeah. So really worried about that for people. So I'm kind of curious slash expecting people to like really be building against like missile attacks, a lot of missile resistance, that kind of thing. But it is cool as usual to see a map where like bruiser squads can also like shine.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about like like I said, the double or triple turns. There's no courage, there's no like re-raise or like full life or anything like that. So what it really comes down to is like the barriers, the damage mitigation that you can do to survive.
And healing.
And as long as you're fast enough and You can get your buffs down in time and close on your opponent. Um, it's gonna be really cool to see like I guess maybe not just the more recent units, but like maybe the way that they can help like older units shine. Like King Mott, for instance, he's got his all elemental like buff, right? It's like Mercy something.
Yep.
Um,
Mercy's Grace.
and like he's got his TMR. Like you can use that on whoever. I think it's usable by most units, right? With like the AOE resistance.
Mhm.
I'm curious to see how people react to these, to the like the popular teams that are probably going to show up in the meta.
So I'm looking at, now that we have these maps, the first thing I look at now is, can you shadow realm somebody, which is the transposition onto a height that is more than 2 above adjacent squares.
Yeah,
You can't, because the 5 goes to 4. However, if you can get somebody like Katone to go from that, like somebody's on the 0 or wherever at the bottom, you put them on the 5, and they get put on any of those zeros next to the 5, the next height up is 2 unless you go way around. So it would take a minimum of 2 turns to even get in range, and you have to still have a height 2 ability to hit whoever's in that range. Like that's irritating. That makes me want to use Nivlu and just like transposition people onto that, and then just pew pew, or off of it rather, onto the
but
0, and then pew pew from the 5 while they're getting back to me, and then go back down.
that's kind of like the opposite of like what Locke mentioned with like the turret position. Like you can like transpo, you can shadow realm them as long as you have like a tank buddy. Like
Sort of, yeah, that's true.
like transpo a gunner and like have fun like not being able to hit the tank right in front of you. But I mean obviously they can still like rain down fire on the other units further away, but like maybe like transposition like a melee unit and just have fun like hitting each other in the face on height 4 and height 5 without being able to move.
So transpo has a height of 2, right? Height range of 2.
I think so.
So you could go, again, you have to be looking at the map for this, but if you're on the uh, height 5, you with Nivlu you could go down to, I think, wait, 1 2 3, oh, you have to go to the 4 first. Never mind, you have to stay on the 4. So then you go to the 3 2 0, and having already casted it, if they're on like the 1 or 2, like the P4 or the 2 next to it in the top corner, swap them and then run back up to 4, and then like they can't go around the right side because there's a 2 and a 3. Like you'd have to have jump 2 or more, otherwise it's gonna take 3 turns, so you have to go the other way, but then it's gonna take another 2 turns, so she can just go down again, transpo you, get down to 0, and just keep on looping you around like this. Like this looks
But
hilarious.
so yeah, I guess like TLDR, shadow realming people is fun, but it's going to require a little bit more finesse on this map.
I will see what happens,
Yeah,
because you
I
can't
don't
even
know
get,
if we're gonna see it. I
you
think
can't within, if you are a move 3 jump 1 unit, you cannot get within range to use anything greater, or sorry, you can't get range to use any abilities unless you have something that's height 3 or higher, which is insane.
Very, very few. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if we'll be able to take advantage of that or not. It's one of those things, like, I would love to test it in like practice matches if we get this, but I'm not taking that risk unless it comes up in my real matches. So we'll have to see what happens, but definitely a funny idea. I wonder if we'll see any of that. Like I said, there's no like you're stuck shadow realming unless you, I guess, put your tank on the slot on the height 4 and like put them on the height 5 and say what's up. Like maybe that's a thing, but yeah. Anyway,
The one common piece of advice I've been giving everybody was to make sure you bring height 2 units, like jump 2 units, because that is like otherwise you kind of lose access to that center block, right? So and I'm like, if you're gonna bring somebody like Titus, bring Katone's TMR, because otherwise, again, like you're just not like it's going to be so much harder for you not to have control of the center than for the enemies to. Like for example, if the enemies are as you just said, like gunners, right? If you have the access to the center, they're probably not going to jump on the center too, because if they're also in the center, you're just going to like hit them easily. So they'll probably stay in the corners. And if they're going to stay in the corners, because you're on a higher height, their range is a little bit lower, first of all. And it's easier for you to reach up to them than for you to keep going around, because as you're going around, they'll just keep moving the other direction and you're not going to catch them. So, yeah, just bring jump 2 units, you know?
or units with passives like Shukuchi,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
battle wise or something. If people are still planning on using Sid. Um,
or nimble movement, like
Yeah.
buffs that increase, or
True.
Well,
standard
yeah.
dragoon
So
standard. Yeah.
yeah, Dragoon standard is really important, but it comes with a Dragoon sub job, which Dragoons generally have that like base and jump of base move and jump of like 4 or something like that, or 4 and 3.
For main job, yeah.
But yeah, if you have a Dragoon like sub on like Dwayne or something, yeah, that
Mhm.
Dragon Standard is awesome. There's also, so you said nimble movement, that's on Kododamo Wheeler. There's winged staff for staff mages. That's really important for Kilfei. Like I used her like the first class match, and that's when I almost got first. But yeah, how are you guys feeling about teams? Like, have you had much practice with like what teams you want to use?
So after this conversation, I think I know what I'm gonna do. But it's not what I was thinking before this. Originally, I was thinking something like premium unit of choice, Tidus Zazan, or go 9S Tidus, and then some sort of like either Seymour or Ravies, like some other like disruptive MR unit, or even like somebody like Grace, because I do want some heals. It'd be really nice on this sort of map where there's, I mean, obviously the revive's not going to work, but not having access to things like courage makes Kane a little less attractive, because that's kind of part of how he survives, right? The no quicken means I don't want to, like, I want people who can kind of stand on their own, but also aren't losing a lot either. So it's kind of a tough choice there. That's almost like I like Tidus not having courage, because then he gets his saintly wall or whatever. He still gets full value. But now I'm thinking I might have to get my Liart up there, because doing mono lightning sounds interesting with 9S, Nivlu, and Liart. So we'll see what happens. Haste is still a good ability, and if I can do these transposition nonsense things, lock people up there with 9S or something, I don't know. And 9S also has really good height differences, right? Like up and
Yep,
down.
he does.
So he may be a beast on this map. So, and he has jump too as well, right?
He does. Yep.
Yeah.
And
So
move
jump.
4.
Yeah. Move 4, jump 2, and high height up and down abilities. And the up and down is important because, like you were just saying, Locke, if you're a ranger and you're under, you actually have less range, but his doesn't care. So, but he also gets more range if he's high. So, like if he's up on that 5 spot, I think it's 2 extra range on the end of this map. So
Yeah.
it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like he can hit way further. So, yeah, I definitely want to use him if possible. Plus, he's just a really cool unit. It's one of those things I would just enjoy using him because I like his kit. It's just a matter of what I'll pair with him. Right now, it's either gonna be Nivlu or Tidus probably, and then I'll fill in from there based on points.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like another benefit to using like 2B or 9S or both is that like they're not affected by Maneater, right? So that's just another plus
True.
to using them in terms of like being like on a bruiser squad, or at least hoping for them to be able to survive, to take a couple hits or a few hits. I think my perspective is I'm really focusing on like missile units, like how it's kind of sort of like a couple of class matches ago where it was like I used like my light team and I was using El Sorel for like the double resist buff and stuff, and it's like the double quicken Frederica team, like that was like my nemesis there. Like that's like pretty much one of the only counters to that team. So like now that there's no quicken, it's like I wonder how much more useful like Nightblade jobs will be. Like there's Kingmon, there's El Sorel. I don't know if there's any other
You
Nightblades.
mean 9S?
Right. So like I mean so going
Yeah.
back to 9S and possibly 2B with her evasion and like the rest of her kit and stuff. Yeah. That I think they're going to be they may be a prominent counter to some of these counter teams.
So I've been doing a lot of practice matches with other people on the Snowy Fields map, because I found out that those crystals are still there. First of all, for anybody that might not know it, so it's a good place to practice. But the thing I found with most people, most of the practice matches, is that usually every team has at least one unit that can charm, and it kind of makes sense because usually when you have a 220 cost limitation, usually people bring Phoebe, and this time they don't want to bring Phoebe because full life doesn't work and quicken doesn't work. So,
Yeah, so
what are you gonna? I've actually surprisingly still seen a
Meteor.
few.
No.
I've seen people using Phoebe's Esper Meteor to do like
Yeah.
4K damage to my King Mont, and I'm like, what? I did not expect that. But anyway, um, so instead they're using units like Zazan, who's 20 cost, who has Charm, or Seymour, who's only 50 cost, same cost as Mont for Charm, and obviously Kiza, or am I saying that? Is it Ziza? How do you pronounce it?
I've seen it
In
pronounced in the story on Global as Ziza, so that's what I
is
always say.
Giza in global, it's like Giza in Japan. Yeah,
Yeah, it's no big
Okay.
deal though.
All right. So yeah, I've seen her, and I would assume she's going to be quite popular because of the height to move for, uh, and and very high agility. So I've always so that's like those are like two things that I've been telling people. Make sure you bring units that has access to jump to, and then make sure you have a plan for to deal with charm. And one of those ways to deal with charm is to bring 9SS TMR, because that gives you charm immunity for 3 turns, which is a nice way to deal with it. And also, like, your opponent might underestimate you and move in with this charm units, expecting you to charm you next turn, and you can catch them off guard. So,
especially
but
like Rairu TMR on Ziza, right? Like that's a thing people have done. Like on the snowy field map, they would just run at you, like ready to charm, and like, oh, kill me, sure. Oh wait, Rios doesn't work on this map anyway. Never mind.
Yeah,
I was
Fuck me.
gonna mention that earlier. Like, at least we don't have to worry about Ziza
Oh
re-race.
shit, never mind.
yeah.
Whoops, I bet.
But there's
what?
also like the whole Sakura, Halloween Little Leela, and Yuna team, because the 2 cost 70s and the 1 cost 80. Like all 3 of those units can have like jump 2. I know, right? Like imagine like they don't even worry about like any kind of defensive vision cards, and they just go like all like straight out like full magic vision cards. And they try to compensate for that with like defensive TMRs or something. Like they all have access to like jump up skills. Like Yuna and Sakura, they're both Kododama wielders, and Leela has Shikuchi. So I wonder if we're gonna see how many of those teams we're gonna see, like the just barely like lower cost URs, and then like the
Probably a
85.
lot, and Victor as well.
I feel like that team is going to
Exactly.
be quite weak to gunners, just because like you can still hit them like wherever they're standing on high 2. You can probably access like most of this map as a gunner, right?
I'm curious. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but like I think that those teams did really well just because of the amount of re-raise that you had available. You can re-raise and you can full life. You have like both of the Halloween Leela and Yuna doing that, and then you have the TMR and then the re-raise ability, and you don't get any of that. So I don't know how, like, I have no idea. Somebody else said the same thing, and I'm like, I'm not sure how viable that team is going to be, because it's like very low defenses now, removing that ability to full life and re-raise.
I think the only thing there is if they're still doing like the Mashri TMR and Unit TMR stacking to like really mitigate, maybe, and they can close the distance. Also, the lightning resist from Sakura, I could see that being valuable enough, but I also agree, because I faced those teams with my double quick and Frederica a couple class matches ago, and it didn't fucking matter. I just unless Aeon Bond proc, like they're all very dead. Obviously Yuna could come back later, she could revive, and like maybe they do more, but it didn't matter for the damage. So while we don't have quick in here, they also don't have all these other tools like you're saying. So
yeah,
I think it'll be somewhat of a wash there, and they'll still be generally weak to that team. I agree.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I'm gonna be curious to see how the lack of quicken will affect that team, because I think they can still be competitive in terms of speed. Like we've seen Yuna get like close to 100 agility, if not like above there. Like Sakura is probably going to be the slowest, but yeah, it'll be. I think it may come down to clever use of CT, like usage. In terms of like just not letting them get like 3 turns in a row to just melt your team down.
Light chains, yeah. I mean, you just got to keep Sakura safe, I think, because there's no way
Yeah.
she's gonna be faster than these gunners,
Yeah.
rangers would be, snipers, whatever, missile units. And if they get to all 3 hit her before she moves, like, yeah, not that they're gonna necessarily be triple missile teams, but I guess you could with Nivlu, Frederica, and like Liards. So
yeah, I was actually thinking of that team. One of the ideas I was thinking of was that exact team with the 3 triple lightning gunners, archers, whatever you want to call it.
chain, right?
What do you guys
At
think
least,
about? Sorry.
I was gonna say, at least there's no like AoE multi hit from them, right? Like I think Mustadio might have AoE multi. Is this multi hit AoE? I forget.
I don't
He
remember.
has like multi burst, then he has a triple hit. I can't remember if the triple hit. I don't think it's AoE. Anyway,
Yeah, I don't remember.
either way, it's a good thing that doesn't exist. I mean, nuts.
What do you guys think about dark or ice teams?
Ice could be a thing. I mean, Gilgamesh could just go like not Time Mage and just be Soldier Boy. Unintended plant words there, but just like make him a crazy DPS unit with armor discontinuity, and he has auto float, which helps. He can kind of float over. Sucks he doesn't have the +1 movement from like a Shikuchi, but let's see what are ice units. Victora, I think is gonna be very good, especially if we are correct about missile units being good. She's always been a nice, not necessarily like a counter, but at least an answer or a tool to combat those teams. Just high movement, run them down, get them in the corner. She can sometimes get an LB off and turn them on themselves.
But then you're left with like 50 cost.
Sure. Oh, you're talking about like one team. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just listing off the value of ice units. I don't know if I'd go. I don't know if I'd go mono ice. Is the thing. Like ice units themselves might be useful, but I don't know about a mono ice team. Because I think you'd be lacking a tool. Like if I went like Agrius. I guess you can't even go Gilgamesh because like who are you left with? Shell, but like Shell loses a lot of value here.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, and I think the strength to these teams is a lot of like the mono element strength. So like maybe you can use Fenrir or maybe you'll use Odin. If you're worried about evasion. But like if you don't stack like these elements, they're obviously they're not gonna perform as well as if you could stack them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bring Mariluk, dude. I get to put Bar Thunder on the team. There you go.
Boom.
Gilgamesh with Gilgamesh, Victora, and Mariluk. Oh, she's cost 60 actually.
I do think Dragoons though. I think Dragoons may end up being popular. Look, if they're in the air, they can't get shot, right?
Yeah. Oh, maybe Thancred. Ooh, go super missile resist Thancred as a meta call, and then he can jump against everybody else.
Thancred or Whisper, like it's gonna be interesting to see like what kind of
original
tank bruisers. Yeah,
the original Mont I think is going to be very good on this map. So one of the ideas I had was King Mont, original Mont, and Halloween Leela for heals.
The Mont. Do you guys remember the like Mako's like boulder throw Mont squad? It's gonna be. I feel like that would be terrifying.
I mean, Mustadio even like just be like counter the lightning missile units with your earth missile unit, and he's still really fucking annoying against other people. He just CCs. You just find what they're not resistant to and just hit him with it.
Like hell, even like Mako's like earth team.
Mustadio, Liart, and then just whoever. Like, I guess King Mont up front and just sit there and status affect everybody to death and have Mont slap him in the face. Oh, man, that actually sounds really annoying.
I think, so I just mentioned Katone, but like, I think she may struggle here because like alongside any other like Drain Force like user, like there's way too many varying heights in this map. So Drain Force has like a height range of 0, so you have to line up the same level, and so that's going to be really hard to do unless you're like in the center or you manage to get close to them or something.
You'd have to be using like Hard Slash on Soldier or Doton on Sub Ninja or things that aren't necessarily as good. Oh, she has Hazard Spin too, which is pretty good. Yeah, that's another one though. Like even Katone against, unless they're super stacked on missile resist, like I've chained through a Katone before with Nivlu and Frederica, so it really depends. Maybe they were on evasion and missile resist, not like built beefy for Drain Force, but like you said, I don't think you're building for Drain Force on this map, so it's really strange because even the gunner counters never sound good. Like there's like, sure. We'll see that and raise you a chain. But
well, I mean, I think King Mont is gonna be hard for the gunners to get through anyway because of his like he has the missile. He has a Nightblade ability that increases missile resist by 25%, and then if you're bringing like Marjorie's TMR, so like you can basically tie up what's her name, Nivlu's skills with just him, right? And then you have like 2 other people also running towards you. So I actually faced somebody who was running a team like that just in the normal match, and he took like 3 turns of like doing everything to finally kill Mont, like King Mont, and the next turn I was able to move my other unit and like AoE everybody in like the same spot. So, um, yeah, I think he might actually be like a good counter for gunner teams, just because he has again like he has move 4. You can put like Kane's TMR on him to make him move 5 if you want, and haste. And he's like inherently bulky, and Frederica still doesn't have a defense penetration skill, right? So
True.
So who might you suggest bringing alongside like King Mont if somebody has access to them?
Eminem. Mont
Right.
and Mustadio. Let's go.
I like Leela better, Halloween Leela, just because of the sustain, right? Like these guys take little damage, but over time it builds up. But if you're bringing Halloween Leela to keep healing you, Kurada's height 3 heals, you can sustain for quite a while.
You
That's
can
what I
bring
think.
Victora too. Victora,
Yeah.
Mont.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
can do
send her
that
in
too.
there.
But I started with the question. Now I'm like, I really want to use King Mont, so that's 100 cost. So what can I do? And I really want to bring another 80 cost. I didn't want to limit myself to a 70 cost. So I was like, okay, I'll probably either end up having to use Zazan or Liart, and both of them are 99. So I made the decision to go with Liart, and she is amazing. Like she was a lot better than I actually thought, because I started with, I was like, okay, so she has access to all these uh, status effects. Like she has stop, she has charm, she has poison and immobilize on one skill, which is amazing. But I was like, okay, so she's cool. Like she can do all these things, so I can use her as a supportive offensive unit to pair with Mont, like King Mont and someone else. But for some reason, I'm like, I wonder what other sub jobs she has, because I never looked at it before. And then I realized she has White Mage. And I tried using like a magic build on her. So I put the what I don't know what
Elven
bow
bow?
it is.
Elven
Yeah,
bow,
the
yeah.
elven bow. And if you put a Bahamut on her, you can get her magic up quite a lot. And even if she does like like 5 damage, she will still proc her status effect. So I don't actually need her to do damage. She can do like minimal damage, but she can do like 2k heals on King Mont at the same time. So I'm like, okay, so she can do protect, she can do shell, and on other maps she can do like full life as well. And then she has the 2k heal, and she has charm, stop, poison, immobilize, and she has the highest accuracy in the game. So so I was like, yeah, she's actually like a really good unit to pair with King Mont.
She also has Mana Strike.
Yes, yeah, but that's hard to use because she's so squishy.
Yeah,
Well, so
just be a man and walk up to him. Just right in their face.
so the thing is about Laird being squishy, like she has survived some hits that I wasn't expecting to see her survive. I don't know what it was about like those builds, but like it seems like she can take at least one hit, and that's really surprising. Like normally we see ranged units just getting one shot, you know.
Mhm. Okay, time. I have 10% left on my battery, so I should
Yeah, I
probably.
think we're close to wrapping up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Okay, all right.
I'm back in. What were you saying, Daniel?
That was pretty much it.
Oh, okay.
Like she can take a hit.
Yeah, what is her like what's her HP like when
She has
she's
4,000 HP
reasonably-
on my build.
What
So-
what vision card are you using on her? Like I'm playing around the builder right now to look at like her like what I can get her magic up to. Just with the Elven Bow, her base stats and Bahamut, she has 458 magic, which is significantly higher than I was expecting. It's almost where Nivlu caps out.
Trying to
Yeah.
remember the vision card that increases lightning unit HP. I can't remember.
And she gets
it's,
focus, which is an
Aegon.
activation time.
Aegon VC increases
Oh,
HP
yeah,
by 25%.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah, she has focus, so
focus,
that,
yeah,
it's
that's
like
nuts.
amazing. It's just like it just the synergy.
It
synergy
just
is
works.
just so good.
Ranger lore, yeah.
Yeah, I was able to get her agility to 84, like in the formation menu with Bahamut VC, not VC, Bahamut Esper, and I was using the Ramza VC.
Okay. So
And I
Ramsa
had,
VC on her or
Yes, Ramza VC
Okay.
on her.
just because it doesn't matter what she has.
Yeah. And then I actually ended up using, I think, Black Rose Helena VC on her instead, because so I'm playing around
that
with a
makes
few builds.
sense.
Yeah, because if I'm going magic, then I might as well increase her magic that way. So
You might be oh, I need to find some blossoms. It's oh, by the way, also another thing I said on a previous podcast I was wrong about. was I said something about the metal shops for rare units not having their shards, which they do. So like if you want a max Mish, the arts, whatever, like you can just dump metals to get them. So
Yeah.
That's something I didn't realize. So I apologize for that.
It's only Zazan you have to farm. Like you have to, yeah.
332 mil. What TMR do you have on Liard?
Oh, I have what's her name?
Lucius?
Yeah, Lucius TMR. Because
agility,
+1 range is awesome as well, and 25% agility. Yeah.
And then do you have like Soul of Thamasa for magic?
No, I have pod 153.
Oh, sure. Oh, so you're just like agility.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think another like kind of cool thing to know, I don't know how important it is, but you guys mentioned poison like towards the beginning of this episode, and it's important to note that her upgrade to Shadowbind is called Shadow Devour now. Super cool, by the way. I don't know what it is with me and like the names, but like it's actually like a more potent version of poison. It's like Venera level poison with that 25. It's 25% tick, as opposed to the normal 15%. So. Yep. I mean, you don't even have to barrier break. You can just like just use the Shadow Devour skill like a poison arrow.
Yeah, it was hitting an enemy Titus for like 2k per turn. He was like, "What the hell is happening?" It's like, yeah. So.
All right, I'm gonna have to do some serious account management after this podcast.
It's funny you mention that because somebody else recently they were like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to. What do you guys think?" And I was just like, "Yeah, you should." I did not feel bad, but
that's just. She was one that's been on my radar. It's just I don't have blossoms. I have like 2 right now.
I mean, but
it's maxed.
It's hard to commit to these lower rarity units, like unless you have like a wider perspective, like unless you hear from people that have already taken that dive and like is it good, is it not, so like that's just another one of the great things about the PvP server that I really enjoy and I'm grateful for is that perspective. Like you can be like, hey,
someone's maxed them
before I invest these like blossoms in particular, like, hey guys, what do you guys think about blah? And most likely somebody's gonna be like, oh yeah, I went there, and either don't do it or like, yeah, do it. Like generally it's either yes or no, like not like so
yeah, I'm just this looks so disgusting. Yeah, she got 642 magic with 84 agility. Oh my. All right. Yeah, this will be an interesting thing to mess around with. And you were using both mods? Or who's your
I was messing around with 2B right now. So I have King Mon, 2B, and Liart.
Okay. I had 9S for mine. Okay. Super interesting. Anyway, yes. Everybody, brew. Use the builder, figure it out. That's the other thing too. Yeah, this builder is really helpful to kind of see the stats, at least generally, before you max them all out. Because it's nice to hear like, yeah, my Naruto does this, but like to actually see the numbers helps.
Yeah,
put in perspective a bit. Like she has 4.7k HP in this build right now. It's not even done yet. It's nuts.
Oh, and another thing. So I was trying out the 3 triple lightning gunners like Frederica, Niblu, and Liart, and I put like the maximum cards like VCs for damage, and Liart had the highest attack. I was like, what? Of the 3, I was like mind blown there. I was like, I did not expect that. I think I had what's his name, like the Ifrit's VC on somebody, but yeah, she had the highest attack, and I was like, wow. I guess it's because she's the only one that has 120 upgrade of the 3, but I still did not expect that being an SR. So
yeah, I'm gonna look at the attack index real quick and try to find all 3 of them. So starting the bottom. All right, so Nivlu is 50th. Frederica's 56th. Where is Liart? So what is it? We said 56, 50. Is she up here? Where is she? I actually can't find. What's her attack? Is anybody else looking?
Oh, here's index.
I mean, it's only showing like 93 total plus X, so that's interesting. I think maybe she's just really reliant on
has gear. 93. Nobody else has. That's weird. Does it not have rare units on this list? Is that what's happening right now?
Maybe.
Does this just not have like Zazan or anything? Oh, no Zazan's on here.
So I see Liart at 23.
Oh, she's at 23. Okay.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
So she's significantly higher. So yeah, what Nivlu's 284 base. And oh yeah, Liart's 398.
What?
She has
Woo!
an insane.
Fuck! She's just one higher than Delita. That's on
Wow.
380 to be fair, but holy shit! So she's
Oh, I was only looking at the job stats.
oh
She-
yeah, the
her
attack index.
Her X gives her basically like just as much as like what her attack was. Like she like job like one to like 99 or whatever. She got like 48, and then her X gave her like 45. So, wow. It reminds me of Ziza, honestly. Do you guys remember like the difference,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
disparity between like 99 and 120 Ziza?
She just
Kinda
got
seems
her
like that.
6 agility from her EX as well, from her EX board. That's crazy. All right, well, Liart is quite the unit. That's we're
Very
all
cool to
starting to
see.
see a nice influx here. Yeah, I mean, this is the point of EX, right? This is what we were saying. Like, it gives them a chance to rebalance units, make things more viable, and like now we're seriously considering using her. And then people were using her last class match to success. So I mean, yeah, awesome times. Definitely looking forward to even more. I can't wait for my boy Mish. I'm gonna mention it again.
Ooh,
Cannot wait.
spicy.
Probably not gonna be great, but we'll see. Just gotta get that reflex chance up to like 30% or something, right? That'd be the best.
And she has
But-
reflex. So there you go.
Oh yeah, exactly. So, any last thoughts about class match or any of the other releases this week, or are we wrapped up?
My last thought is disclaimer this time. Like, obviously, we're expecting these details. We're expecting class match next Wednesday. Take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, like we won't know until like Monday. But I don't want to say we're confident, but we're expecting it. So, if you're trying to prepare for this class match in any way, hopefully you have the chance to do so in the remaining few days until next Wednesday.
I don't have any closing thoughts. That's it.
All
Enjoy.
right. Wraps up
Have a
for
good
this
day.
week. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. I've been Zach Bro,
I've been Dan and Bloom.
Take care. I'm Locke.
and we'll see you next time.